Hello and welcome to this guide where I will show you how to check on your website if your navigation links are discoverable by Google search bots or crawlers, AI bots as well, right? They're trying to access information on your website, etc., etc. Why is this important to check? Well, Google will, for example, pass internal or pass page rank value, link value, authority signal through internal links. And we also want to show other bots our navigation, etc. So it's just important to make sure crawlers and bots can actually see your navigation links and even crawl them. So I've got bauhaus.info as an example. So the first thing we want to check is your links actually crawlable? Now, I'm actually just for general purpose going to go and find a link down here, just any of these links. And one quick way in Google Chrome to do this, just hover over a link here, and you can see in the bottom left corner of the screen, I know this is small here, but it shows you the actual URL, which is a good sign that this is a crawlable link. There's a quick way to do this as well. You can inspect, right-click inspect, and it'll show you, look, we can actually see some of these HTML elements, and it's actually visually being shown on the left side here, which is really cool feature. And we can see what we're looking for here is this A. I know it's small, but in HTML there is an A tag, which is basically a link, and within that you have an attribute called the href, and there we can see, yes, this is an actual link. So this means that crawlers can see and follow this, especially Google. Google will only follow these types of links. So we can basically say, yes, this specific link that I'm showing here as an example is crawlable. Now let's get into something a little bit more complex, which is then, what about the menu here? And the reason we want to check this is because when I'm clicking here, well, I'm getting all these categories here. And as you can see, it doesn't show any links down here. None of them. So we have to wonder, well, are these crawlable? So what we can do is, again, highlight, for example, this lounge sets, inspect. Now we can see, yes, there is an A class here, but I do not see any href attribute, right? I see an A element, but I don't see any URL basically here. So let's see what happens when we actually press this. Nothing happens. Oh no, we actually move. So this looks to me like this menu is the links are being generated by JavaScript, meaning when I click on this href, this A element, it doesn't have a URL or an href attribute, but JavaScript seems to be then still redirecting you to the correct page, which is okay for users, but then crawlers basically just see text here. So we don't see any links, we don't pass internal link value, it just looks like we have a bunch of text. So that's the first issue when I look at this website. The other one is, and this is really important as well, is once we have a menu that shows like a drop down or a mega menu that pops up after an interaction, we want to make sure that, let's imagine these were actual correct links. Let's just imagine these work, they're crawlable. What I want to know is, I want to figure out, well, are they in the code right now? Because this is what Google sees when it renders the page. Google doesn't click, doesn't hover, so we want our menu links to be visible in the code without any interaction first. And the way we check this is, let's do an inspection here. Sorry, inspect. There we go. So try and see if I can do this correctly. Boom, there we are. So now I can see that I've inspected this page. The first thing we want to do is, let's go back to the front page. Yeah, there we go. That's our menu. Now, if I refresh up here, this is a fresh view of the page. I haven't interacted with it. And then I can start looking into the menu. So I can inspect this specific element. We can see I found it here. And we can start even figuring out what's going on here. And this is already I think a bad scenario, because we can see here, I have my div container. I've got this, okay, I've got href product. So that's not a full URL. It's just a hashtag, which is okay. These are relative URLs, perhaps. But I know these are not crawlable actually. Oh no, actually it's a relative, so it might work. But in any case, that's not what we're looking for here today. What we want to find out now is all the links we saw when I press products, where are they? And I can't seem to find the code. We've expanded all our elements, and now we're going to tips and ideas. So as you can see, it looks to me like there is none. Now if I press this, look what happens over at this code area. When I press products, boom. Okay, we can see there were some changes to the HTML. The real question is, where are these now? Now we can actually do another inspect here, and we can see, oh, it's somewhere down here. We've got all these elements here. Great. So what I usually do is, let's say I can take you, for example, and then what I do is we have to do another refresh. So basically, I want to find this nav link element next. First of all, we can see here the href part here in the link. It says JavaScript, so that's the issue. They're not crawlable. Even if Google could see these, it's not really a crawlable link, so to speak. But I want to find this specific element again in my HTML, but I want to find it after a fresh reload. So again, I'm going to reload the page. I see the HTML over here. I can do a Control F. Then I'm going to try and find the element I copied. We can see here it has nav link next. Yes, it's so. Good news. This submenu here is actually in the HTML on the first load without any interaction. So that's the good part. The bad part is none of the links are actually crawlable. They're just JavaScript links. That's the other issue. But yeah, that's pretty much how we check navigation and see whether, first of all, are the internal links crawlable? Are they href links, basically, is the question we need to ask. And secondly, are the anything that expands any sub-menu or mega menu, are they visible to crawlers and AI bots? In this case, they are, but we don't have crawlable links. So you can see there's kind of a twofold thing we have to check here when doing technical audits of websites. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this guide. Like, subscribe for more guides. I also have a playlist with weekly SEO and AI news. So subscribe to that. I summarize all the cool stuff every week. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and have a lovely day auditing your new site.